What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the War Report Gaming. I'm Dylan Lark, A on Twitter, and I'm here to rank my top 10 wide receivers in the new college football game based on how I'm going to predict their ratings to be. And it's been a hot minute, but let's get right into it.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Now, it's been a little bit of it's probably been about a month since the last time we talked to each other about this. But coming in I have an honorable mention because I almost recorded with 11 players. But Kevin Conception currently stands at my number 11 overall wide receiver. That's kind of just a little bonus action right there. Coming in number 10, I have Colin Lacey out of Louisville. Transferred in this offseason from South Alabama last year for the Jaguars, 91 catches, 1,300 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Also did their punt return duties as well. A short build wide receiver who kind of fits in the mold of how Jeff Brom likes to run his offenses. Of course, Jeff Brom, former Purdue coach, had Rondell Moore, had Jamari Thrash last year for the Cardinals. So I think Colin Lacey is going to be kind of one of those players you're really going to expect to be have that kind of production. Kind of had a great season last year and kind of built his way into having a standout year. Because up until 2020 and 2021, his first two seasons at South Alabama, never got over 300 yards. Got about under 400 yards in 2 years, and then NWACS 2022 and 2023, Colin, and he has over 2,000 yards over the past 2 years. So currently have him standing at a 91 overall. Coming in number 9, I have Evan Stewart out of Oregon, the transfer who's coming in from Texas A&M. Last year for the Aggies, 38 catches, 514 yards, and 4 touchdowns. This is basically a talent standpoint for me. I think that he just possesses so much potential that I think he's going to be in the 92 range where I currently have Evan Stewart. I just think that that's what you're banking on with Stewart. That's why Oregon was so, and that's why most of college football was evident to really grab Stewart is just because of the potential that he does have. I think he could fall a little bit lower on the list, and I could probably switch him with Kevin Conception, and just putting him out just because we haven't seen the production level yet. But I think when you look at Evan Stewart, you're really banking more on the talent that he has. And of course, you see players like that all the time on both Madden and NCAA 14. Players that were ranked high, but probably didn't have the production quite yet. So, yeah, I currently have Evan Stewart as my number 9 overall wide receiver in EA College Football 2025. Going to my number 8 guy. A guy, if you're an Auburn fan, you know pretty well. Brings a tear to my eye to even say that way. I have Isaiah Bond as my number 8 overall wide receiver at a 94 overall. When you think of fast, you think of Isaiah Bond. 44 catches last year on Alabama, 668 yards, 4 touchdowns, and of course that grueling touchdown that will live in my brain forever and always. I think Isaiah Bond's a very talented wide receiver, and I think he is going to earn that 94 overall. He is now with the Texas Longhorns, if I did not mention that before. I think that he is going to be a guy that Quinn Ewers is really going to utilize a lot. I think that's going to be the year that Isaiah Bond hits that 1,000-yard mark. I think he's really worth the 94 overall just because of his speed alone and what he can do, but probably in the return game as well. Is going to be a lot of fun to play with in the game. So if you're looking to cheat a little bit and play with Texas in your dynasty, first of all, I don't respect you. Sorry. But also it'd be a lot of fun just winning games right off the bat. Now coming in at my number 7 spot, tied with Isaiah Bond and overall at 94 overall, I have Xavier Restrepo for the Miami Hurricanes. Last year for the Hurricanes, 1,000 yards, almost on the dot. Also had 6 touchdowns as well. Really breakout year for Restrepo. Kind of turned himself into a reserve wide receiver and to one of the top wide receivers in the ACC. I think that he just really stands out as another guy who can do it all. He did some punt returning, he did some kick returning for in his career. He is just an all around great receiver. He's on the shorter side of things, which I believe we only have one receiver thus far that we've named that's over 6 foot, but. Restrepo has a route tree that's going to be very fun to utilize if you're trying to rebuild the U back into national relevancy again. I think you can do that with Restrepo coming back for his 5th year. It's going to be a lot of fun to play with, especially with Miami picking up a lot of guys in the portal. So yeah, currently have Restrepo as my number 7 overall wide receiver, 94 overall. Coming number 6, I have Trey Harris going up to overall 95. Trey Harris from Ole Miss last year for the Rebels / Black Bears / Land Sharks. 985 yards, 8 touchdowns as well. Also having back-to-back years getting over 900 yards. Had 2 touchdowns last year 2 years ago for Louisiana Tech, transferred into Ole Miss and got 985 yards, became a true wide receiver 1. So I think Ole Miss is going to be one of those teams going to be very fun to build with. I think they're going to have a very fun offense. I think that they're probably one of those teams that you expect to see kind of in the playoff every single year because the offense itself is very talented. So currently I have Trey Harris at 95 overall, just because he's just everything you want in a wide receiver. He's tall, like 6'2". He's fast. He can catch the ball like nobody's business. I mean, he's had back seasons of 40 more receptions, and he has what looks to be 22 touchdowns as a whole in his career, and that's with 3 years of actually being a used wide receiver. So yeah, Trey Harris currently stands as my number 6 overall wide receiver at 95, sharing his overall. Again, if you're looking for an easy team to build with, if you just want to throw the ball around the place with Dylan Gabriel and or Dante Moore, whichever one you want to start. Tez Johnson on the Oregon Ducks, I have him as a 95 overall as well. Tez Johnson is just an outstanding wide receiver. He has gotten better every single year, yards wise, starting off in 2020 with 211, then 2021 735, 2022 863, and then finally hitting the 1,000 mark in 2023 with 1,182 yards at 10 touchdowns. One of Bo Nix's number 2 guy last year. I think that he is going to be one of the top end wide receivers again. He's paired up very nice with Evan Stewart, so it's going to be very hard to double team any of these 2 guys because the other one's going to get open. I think Tez Johnson's a great route tree. Again, on the shorter side of things, so he's fast. He is going to be very fun, especially on Oregon, because you're going to have the uniforms, you're going to have the wide receivers, you're going to have basically everything for Oregon. And so Tez Johnson currently have 95 overall after his outstanding year with his first year with Oregon. So coming in number 4, a guy who's going to be on the cover of the game, Travis Hunter. I have him as a 96 overall wide receiver. I kind of think he's going to be a 99 overall player, but I think playing wide receiver will be on the lesser end, on the sense of 96. I think he'll be a 99 overall corner. It's kind of where I have him. Kind of a spoiler alert for that. But last year for Colorado, came in, had 57 catches, 721 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Also dealt with some injuries. I think the fact of the star power that Travis Hunter is bringing in, and just the talent level, what we've already seen of what he can do on both sides of the ball. I mean, I think Travis Hunter might end up being one of the top video game players of all time because of the fact you can play with him on both sides of the ball. And I'm saying that as a huge fan of Madden 04. I'm a Panthers fan. I love playing with Michael Vick on Madden 04. And of course you have the Tecmo Bowl, Bo Jackson era too. I think Travis Hunter is going to be a player that a lot of guys are going to try to transfer into their program. But I think Travis Hunter is going to be a very fun player. Just the fact that he can catch the ball as well as defend the ball as well. So true threat there, 96 overall wide receiver. I have 2 guys listed 97 overall, starting off with Arizona Wildcats wide receiver. I'm going to go ahead and butcher this, so be prepared for that. Tetairoa McMillan. His sophomore year last year, 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns. Then you go back to his 2022 year, 702 yards, 8 touchdowns. That's 18 touchdowns in 2 years. That's 2,100 receiving yards in 2 years. This guy is a top receiver in the country, so I currently have a 97 overall, 6'5", 210 pounds. I cannot think of a better receiver to just throw the ball up to in the end zone. That is exactly what Arizona's been doing with him. So I don't see a reason to not do that as well. And they fed him the ball a lot. I mean, if you go from his first year with Arizona, 39 catches, go to his year 2, 90. That is over double actually, of the increase of receptions. So I do think he's going to be another top player in the game at 97 overall. And sharing his overall, I have Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State. Last year, as the number 2 overall guy behind Marvin Harrison, he really stood out. He's had 1,000 yards before in year 2 with Ohio State, but last year, 515 yards and 4 touchdowns. Dealt with a lot of injuries as well. I think that's probably one of the reasons Ohio State kind of dropped off a little bit, was the fact that they lost their number 2 guy. But I think that Egbuka has a lot of talent and has a lot of potential, and we've seen what he can do before. He hit 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns in year 2 with Ohio State. So we're going to see that again, see the production of him as the number 1 overall receiver. He looks healthy. He showed out in the spring game. So a lot of fun to watch him play, and it's gonna be a lot of fun with Ohio State, really, because you're gonna have a duo of great running backs, as well as having a number 1 threat at the wide receiver position. And now, for my second 99 overall player in EA College Football 2025, Luther Burden III. I have as a 99 overall player last year in the SEC for Missouri. 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns, averaged 14 yards a catch, as well as rushing the ball for 31 yards as well. But also did a little bit of returning. Not a lot, did more in his freshman year. Luther Burden is the best wide receiver in college football. I would be remiss to just not say that out front. He is going to be the top wide receiver taken in the draft next year. He is going to be a top wide receiver in general this year. He has turned Missouri into a true threat in the SEC. I just put up a video. Well, I don't know when exactly this is going to be going up, but on the 28th, where I ranked Missouri number 3 team in the SEC, and Luther Burden was one of those names that I name dropped, and why I think Missouri is going to be such a dangerous team. So that's my list. I have Luther Burden, 99 overall players. My second a 99 overall player I've listed thus far. Him and Ollie Gordon, the third, have a bit of a trend going on here with thirds. So yeah, that's my list. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But all being said, thanks for tuning in to Warport Gaming. I'm Dylan Lark. Go follow me on Twitter at YouBoyTheTank and Instagram as well at Dylan Lark at DYLENLARCK. And of course, check me out on the College Loop podcast as well if you want more Auburn content. But I do want to try to do some more stuff over there too. So check me out there. And with that being said, thanks for watching.